My guest today is in his first full year on the PGA Tour. He was a special temporary member a season ago, but Nicolai Højgaard has made inroads and nearly won the Farmers Insurance Open earlier this season, his 50th in the FedEx Cup race. 37th ranked player in the world, and he's in the field in San Antonio this week at the Valero Texas Open. Nicolai, good to see you. Thanks for carving out some time. How's the week going there in San Antonio?
It's lovely. It's a course I enjoyed. I played it last year, so good to be back. Weather is nice, course in good shape. Bit tricky conditions with the wind, but we all love a good challenge.
How does the start of your, first full season, kind of your sophomore season, compare to what you went through last year? Is there a comfort level you're a little more entrenched in now?
100%. It definitely feels like way more normal now, being here, and I feel quite comfortable. So I'm enjoying it. It's been an interesting little bit of mixed year, but got close a couple of months ago, and we're working on the game to get in that position more often. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, and looking forward to the season.
What are you working on in particular?
There's a little bit, there's some technical stuff, a little bit of arm structure in the swing to get more consistent. Working on, focus and stuff like that. And actually, we're working quite a lot on recovery stuff. So there's a few things, but all things you kind of do something about. So it's exciting. It's always good to have something to work on.
That's a lot of things you just mentioned. There's a lot of different components that have to fall into place to contend and win, right? I mean, do you have a large entourage of people that are part of your team helping to push you across the line?
Yeah, I got a fairly big team, I'd say. There's always someone out every week, almost. So it could be physio, it could be coach, and yeah, we got a good plan in place, and I'm working with some really good people, and I enjoy spending time with, and that's very important. I think when you do this for a living, you got to find people you get motivated by, and I got some great people around me. So we kind of doing a little bit every day to kind of achieve the long-term goals.
What I didn't mention in the introduction was that you have won 3 times on the DP World Tour as well. I know you still have some level of commitment to competing over there. You've always been a global player, Nicolai, even though you're just 23 years of age. What does the schedule look like this year? How are you going to balance it all?
I'd love to play more in Europe, but with the schedule now, the focus is here. I'm enjoying it, as I said, and there's some great events, great courses here, and the focus is primarily just being on the PGA Tour. That's the place now. I'm gonna play in Europe when the season ends in over here, so I'm gonna play a few events, Wentworth or every year, and Switzerland, and I'm excited for that. But the primary focus is just competing here now, and we'll get back in the summer playing Scottish in the Open, which I'm looking forward to. Two of my favorite events, but yeah, at some point, down the line, I would love to be in a position where you can mix it up a little bit. But with travel and everything else, and you want to perform when you show up at events, you want to feel fresh and ready. It's tough going back and forth. So you gotta pick the right weeks. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I'd like to mix it in the future, but for now, the focus is in the States.
I know you have a primary residence in your homeland of Denmark. Wondering if you are going to put down roots in the U.S. anytime soon. What's your base over here?
Yeah, at some point I will, but I haven't really figured out where to go yet. I've been a few different places, and I haven't really probably found the place yet. Probably gonna look at a few different places as well this season, and going forward with the weeks off to trying to figure out where to go, because you want a base and you want somewhere to go and drop all your stuff off, and also practicing having a golf course you go to and stuff like that. I think it's so important when you have off weeks and you actually feel a bit more. It's easier to relax and chill a little bit instead of going to hotel and Airbnb. But you still have to collect all your stuff all the time and pack. And I just think it sounds like a luxury problem, but it's like a thing where it's the small things that makes a difference, of really committing 100% to it and feeling like you have those good off weeks. That's my thoughts about it. And at some point I'll figure it all out. I think it will happen naturally down the line. I'm not in the stress to find something. I enjoy being back home in Denmark, and when I go back now, I actually enjoy it way more because I'm not there that often. So it actually works out pretty well at the moment. But at some point I'll find something in the States.
Billund, Denmark, if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing that correctly, your hometown. Tell me a little about what it was like when you and your identical twin brother Rasmus were growing up there.
Yeah, very small city in Denmark. It's actually quite an interesting city. So it's where Lego was originally founded back in the days. And today Lego is a worldwide recognizable brand, huge brand. We spent countless hours doing it. I mean, so many hours, and went to the theme park as well. So I love being back in Billund. It's where my parents live now, and it's every time you go back to your parents' place where you grew up and stuff, it feels like really home. You can have an apartment and you can have a house, but the only time you really feel at home is when you go back to that home. And I really enjoy it. It's a cool little city. You know everyone, kinda. Like it's that small. There's probably 6,500 people, so you kind of know the people there. And as I said, it's home. It's where we spend a lot of hours, and practicing. It's where we spend hours playing football and handball and table tennis, and went to school and all that stuff. So it has a special place. So a small little city with a lot of Lego in.
I love that. Who were the people that inspired you as you were just getting started in the game? I would imagine Thomas Bjorn was a big influence, right?
Yeah, 100%. Thomas has been a huge part of it, actually. We met for the first time back in, probably back in 17, I'd say. I've been seeing him a few times earlier, but when we really met him, where we sat down and talked, was in 17, and then slowly, to this day, we have a really good relationship. He's been a kind of mentor for us, and I think it's been very important to have a guy like him to kind of guide us a little bit, but also just, we can always ask questions, you can get answers. He's been there, he's done it all, so. And now working with Søren Hansen, who's a former player as well, I really enjoy it. It's good to have those people around. They've had the club in their hands in those situations you talk about all the time, hitting exactly that shot in that certain situation, and they've hit that shot as well. As you can relate to it, and sometimes that conversation is the only conversation you can have with them and nobody else, because they've been there. And I think that's been really a thing for me this last few years. So watching Thomas, what he did, what he's done, and now being close to him, and also Torbjørn has been an influence for us, and it's pretty cool to now being next to him, and good friends. We're hanging out now, and off the course as well, and yeah, hopefully we inspire the next generation of players.
What has the dynamic of your relationship with Rasmus been like from a competitive standpoint through the years? How competitive has it been along the same trajectory? How much did you guys push each other through the years?
It's been very competitive. It's in everything we do. Its relationship is becoming better and better, because we're not fighting anymore. It's very rare we're fighting, but back in the days we were fighting every day. It was who can run the fastest to the car, gets the front seat, whatever. It was grades in school. It's and with the beating and everything. It's been a thing every time. We've always had each other, and I think that's been so important for us. We never had that moment where it's like, oh, you're standing it just by yourself and you need someone to be around. We always had each other. We never really felt like we needed anybody else. And actually, that's been a big part of probably our success and how we pushed each other in the right direction. You always see one playing, but then the next one, and it's been like that every year. And it's just, yeah, it's pretty cool. There's obviously positive and negatives, but I can't find many negatives other than when he's playing really good golf and I'm not.
You guys did share a really cool moment when you both won a week apart. I want to say it was 2021. You won the Italian Open.
Yeah.
Rasmus won the European Masters as well. What was the week like? Did you properly celebrate together?
So it was a weird situation. Ras won in Twitter, and I was back home watching it with my parents, and it was like when I haven't won at that time, and he's won 3 times there. So I was felt like I was far behind in some way. And I was actually quite injured a little bit prior to Italy, and I got an invite for that event. I wasn't supposed to play, got an invite. And then I went down to Italy and played really good golf, and suddenly standing at an 18th green, having a 3-footer to win. And I didn't even realize, I didn't think about he won the week before, and nobody has done that before. But then after I got interviewed, and somebody said, you were first to go back-to-back, and it's a pretty cool feature to have. It's a pretty cool thing when we think about it, and we love to do it more often. But to have that, And he's standing on the 18th green, and we're celebrating, and that was pretty cool. It's one of those things you always look back at. I haven't been at his wins, only at Himmerland last week, and last year, sorry, in Denmark, and that was pretty cool. So being there for each other when we have success is pretty cool.
So the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour have really been building this working relationship that they've had in place, Nicolai, over the last couple of years. And the PGA Tour is now offering eligibility and status for players off the DP World Tour. Matthew Pavone, who you nearly took down at Torrey Pines, in fact, took advantage of that to win the Farmers Insurance Open. Do you like that avenue, that pathway is being opened up for players in Europe?
Yeah, I see it as a positive. It's a now there's a direct line to go on the PGA Tour. Before you had to play 7 in top 50 and World Golf Championships and majors and all that, and now there's a direct path to go on the PGA Tour, and that's where everybody has a dream of playing. I think it's good. I think it's pretty cool to see the guys coming from Europe. You see a lot of good players. You've seen it playing well this season, and I think it's motivating for people to have that opportunity, and also for players who probably haven't played the best golf and had to work hard on getting the game up again. You know, there's the other way where you can go back to Europe and and play, and then, you know, I see it as a two-way thing. It's always a bonus. You got players. The pathway from Europe to PGA to the US is pretty cool. I mean, it just you can feel it on the players. The fields in Europe was strong last year. And I think everybody was more excited and wanted to play more because I want to get in those 10 cards. And we felt it. We made a plan last year where it was our only focus is there's 2 focuses. One of them was Rome, September Ryder Cup, and then the other thing was getting one of those 10 cards. That was the 2 focus, and it changed a little bit for me around Punta Cana and after that with the temporary membership and all that. But the focus was just those 10 cards because it's getting to that point now where you really want to play over here, and the way the schedule and the way the world of golf is looking at the moment, that's the place to go. So I think it's pretty cool that you have that option now, and you have that opportunity to go there. And I think you see some players actually taking advantage of it. Hwang is a great example.
Well, you were one of the players who represented your continent as part of the European Ryder Cup team in Rome. As a captain selection, what was it like to get the call from Captain Luke Donald, Nicolai?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. It was so nerve-wracking because when I started the season, it was never in my mind. Coming off a really poor 22 and then slowly building into the season, coming back to play Prague and Switzerland and playing some good golf. And I made a bogey in 17 in Switzerland in the final round, and I actually felt like that could lose the spot. I was like, there's no way that one hole can do that when you look at the bigger picture. But I was hoping for it. I was so nervous because I asked them after the round, I said, so what now? He's going to call you, they're going to call you later. And I was just sitting there in the room waiting for it. And so nervous. And I was obviously very pissed because I just made a bogey in 17 and finished off poorly. Because we all had a chance around when I was in 16th green. I had a birdie putt, I think, to get tied for the lead maybe. And then Ludwig made a few birdies at 16, 17 and went off to win. But there was a few players of us who had a chance to actually get close to a win there. And he ended up making birdie 16, 17, and I had a good chance 16, par, bogey 17, and I was out of it. And I felt like that was the thing that kept me out of the Ryder Cup. So when Luke called in the evening, I was sitting there in shock, and I obviously can't swear here. So, but I was like, hey, it was so cool. It was a phone call you'll never forget. And then later get to Rome and then being part of that and get that trophy back to Europe was pretty cool. It's definitely the highlight of my career.
And Europe's going to run it back with Luke Donald at Bethpage in a couple of years. I'm sure you would die to be part of that team again. It's a really exciting time for the European Ryder Cup team, I think, Nicolai, not only with stalwarts like Rahm and McIlroy, but the young infusion of blood and energy like yourself and Sepp Straka and the like. I'm sure you want to be a part of many of these teams in the future.
100% being part of that one now. You want to be part of that team for the next 20 years. You watched your whole life, and now actually been there and seeing up close what it's really about. It's the coolest thing in the world. It doesn't get any better. Like it can't get any better. I can't see how. So I want to be in that team in 25. And I'm going to do everything I can to be there again. and it's a pretty cool opportunity now for the European golfers. And you see a lot of young golfers actually having that chance now. So we could have and there's a few Scandinavian players playing well. So we might see a few Scandinavian players that.
One thing, real quick, before we close, and thank you for your time. You're competing in your first Masters next week at Augusta National. How stoked are you for the experience?
Really looking forward to it. For me, it's actually crazy to think about major season starting now. It felt like it's gone so fast, and now you're playing Masters next week and prepping for this week. It's Portland week, and then you go into next week, and now the season really starts. So really excited, really excited for next week.
Soak it up, enjoy every moment, and great luck this week in San Antonio. Thanks so much, Nicolai.
Thank you.